4, 3. Here we go.
Okay.
Very good morning to you. I am Collini Francesco, CEO and founder of Flestart. I am glad to introduce my co-owner and vice president, David Brebner, from our UK offices. I am talking from Italy. We are in lockdown as many other European countries, and we hope that the global emergency will end very soon. Today we are talking about how to improve Mikrotik router efficiency by adding content and malware filter to establish a safe internet protection. The number of attendees is very high. It's a pleasure for us. We have both existing customers, both network admins of school and enterprises, and also new prospect. A very warm welcome and thank for attending. David, we can start the presentation. The webinar will be technical with a nice live Mikrotik implementation for content filter and malware synchronization. Here we are.
Yeah, so it's a pleasure. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. We're all around the world and we're all on some form of lockdown. So wherever you are, I hope it's going as best it can and stay safe. So Francesco, are you going to turn the slides today, or am I turning the slides?
Yes.
Oh, I can advance the slides. I think
Yeah,
I think
as
I
you
can
want.
do that. Okay, I've got it. So this is a technical session. Okay, we're going to have 1 or 2 introductory slides, then we're going to get down to technical stuff, and we're going to do a lot of show and tell, a demo with the product. And thank you for the kind words coming in. I see those. So as you know, Flashstart, we are highly specialized in threat protection of malware and content filtering. We're filtering certainly well over 1.5 billion clicks a day. It's up from the numbers on here, and in over 100 countries. I don't know, we're about 105, 106 at the moment. And this is a cloud offering, meaning that we offer ways to implement without any hardware or software deployed on site, reusing the existing technology. Low cost, affordable, applicable for everyone, and we're delighted that we've had so much and so many ongoing reports around the world on our technology and its fit. So as I like to say, we are big enough to be credible, we are small enough to be caring and enthusiastic, and Francesco and I are pretty easy to reach, and this organization is equipped with engineers who you will get live access to help with your technical questions and setup. We are not a sales and marketing organization. The Flashstart offer, as I summarized, actually is about taking any router and plugging it into our cloud with the Pro, which is the filtering option that provides an excellent level of filtering, multi-tenancy, and the Pro Plus, which adds to that the possibility to have more granular filtering. And we have a separate session on that. We'll talk more about that for Active Directory and IP workgroups. And together, it's about safe serving, easy, effective, economic. So, you know, just 2 slides here on working with Mikrotik. So we do believe we are the most installed internet filter on Mikrotik around the world. And there are 2 types of particular value add in end user experience level, okay? And the first of those is here. It's about content filtering. And as you see on the left, 85 classes of content can be filtered. You can tune those, you can schedule them during the day, and we are updating these on a continuous basis throughout the day. And as new sites are discovered by users clicking on them, we categorize and apply the necessary filtering on those. And do you know, the attitude of end users towards filtering varies quite a lot, not just by country, but by groups around the world. But the trend is very much around needing this on the content side. And, most governments around the world have requirements on schools now. And those who don't, the schools still look for affordable ways to implement. There's an increasing reports in the press about two things. The first is about prosecutions of people using public Wi-Fi for illegal activities. It took no finding to update my own slides here. You'll see this employee of a restaurant in New Jersey, an employee for 14 years, downloading child porn on the restaurant's internet. And lots of reports about people abusing the internet at work, also watching porn in restaurants and what have you. But it's not just about porn. The internet is increasingly recognized as a balance between impossible to work with, possible to work without to do modern business, but if not controlled in a sensitive way, it can be a big killer on productivity. So these are important balances, and this is what we're about, helping your end users to maximize, and especially on Mikrotik. We're going to talk about the value add technically that allows these to happen in a simpler, faster, more effective way on the Mikrotik environment. And then the same general benefits apply to FlashStart as a filter for malware. And what I really wanted to remind the audience here, and Francesco's going to show the value add around Mikrotik for ease of integration, but the filter itself is a very high grade filter. It is professionally sourced. So I will just give you an example of the effect of that in a second, but some general statistics here about blocking ransomware, botnets, viruses, worms, Trojans. So these are threats born on the internet when you visit a website or you're browsing. Don't actually necessarily open contact the website. It's kind of drive-by downloads. And see here on the right-hand side, this is from the ISTR research, February 29, about the top domains that are the source of these malwares. Dynamic DNS, gambling, hosting, technology, shopping, business, pornography, health, education, and CDN networks. We do all these. And through that, apply our protection. So a little example. We've just completed, this is just a few days ago, we just completed an implementation in Latin America for a POC, not a commercial deployment. And the administrators made what they consider a good approximation on the reduction of malware in that situation. And that freed up in this particular environment, an ISP, 15% of its entire bandwidth. Let me say that again. It removed malware that was consuming 15% of the entire network. So that means they've got more headroom for growth. They're actually, a lot of their call centers are being consumed with people phoning up with malware problems. It's a great anecdotal reference on this, and we'll do more research and present that to the community as we go forward. But the underlying malware threat is excellent, and underlying malware protection source is excellent, and we invite you to try that. Okay, so let me move on. And this is pretty much my last slide to introduce this, and we're gonna dive into the technical aspects. So again, I'm just a reminder that we are working on the Wi-Fi router to integrate with our cloud, and through adjusting the DNS settings here, and we adjust those in what we consider to be our smartest, most efficient way in Mikrotik than any other router brand on the market. It's a low cost. Mikrotik is a low cost, a highly advanced tool, and we're taking advantage of the features in there to build upon it and tightly integrate with our technology. Everything behind the router, whether it be a PC, a laptop, a smartphone applications, all protected through Flash Start. Very simply. So, Francesco, this is probably a good point in terms of for you to set the scene for what you want to talk about. If I advance, I'm going to go on to this slide. Do you want to use this one, or do you want to go on to that other slide, which is a slightly different way of presenting this material?
No, I would prefer to use this particular slide. Thank you, David, for the introduction. We are ready to access our live trial, but just a few words to say about the Mikrotik use cases. We can grant multiple profiles, so we can offer 5 different couple of DNSs in order to attach different profiles. For example, for employees, for students in a school, for headmasters, for top management. So we can split different configurations according to different filtering profile. It's a multi-site. So for example, a company, a school, distributed in several offices, several branches, can with no problem start a global filtering. In this way, it will be very easy to change the policy by adding just a few clicks, and then Flashstart will propagate the filtering strategy to any branches. Authentication, the ISP right is the topic of our third webinar. For reseller, for dealer, for IT professional, it's very important to understand that Flashstart relies on the channel, and we offer a full multi-tenant platform. So in this way, the reseller, the dealer, the IT professional will be able to manage any customer with protection enabled through a central and global interface. It's also possible to implement API SOAP for legacy usage, and we are migrating to RESTful API, the most modern API infrastructure, in order to integrate, to embed, if you want, some part or the entire dashboard in your application. Think about a Wi-Fi provider that install access point everywhere. It can very easily integrate graphics in his own dashboard. So the same for filtering options. So it will be transparent. Now let's go live. Let me share my screen. Okay, just a confirmation if you can see my screen now. Okay, I will try to keep my chat still opened. Okay, but just give me a confirmation if you can see my my screen. Okay, could you? Yes. Okay, it's okay. So right now we have created a test installation, and now we have Winbox ready. I think every one of you will be much more skilled than me, technical expert about Winbox. I have a quite medium knowledge of Mikrotik, but this is the tool which we will synchronize and connect Flashstart. Can you also see Winbox? Just a confirmation through the chat. I'm reading. Okay, thanks. Okay, let's jump inside and then let's start with our Mikrotik configuration. This is the customer area, the multi-tenant area, but it is not the topic of today. Protection management. Okay, so the very first time you access the system, will ask you for the type of installation. Standard is for company, reseller, school, public administration, residential. ISP and OSP is focused on deploying on a large scale internet service provider. Let's choose the standard option, proceed, and we have two different options. Grant a public IP address. So for example, if you have a public IP address, you will simply choose the first option and declare the public IP. This is my home public IP, but you can change. If you aren't sure of your connection type, simply choose connect a router for dynamic IP connection. Proceed. Okay, now we have several brands. If you are using some brand that is not listed here, you can every time switch to manual configuration, no problem. The 99.999% of modern router can be connected to flash start. Let us choose Mikrotik, and this configuration process works for any kind of Mikrotik of any version and firmware level upgrade. We can choose both manual or automatic. I would prefer the automatic. Just a sec, there is someone that is not, by the way, okay. And now the system asks me for a password. I need to confirm my flash start credential, the credential that have been registered in the very first registration process. Let me continue. So this is the most crucial moment. We are providing a full configuration script for Mikrotik, and by default, we are adding automatic redirection of DNS queries to our filter. Why? I would strongly suggest to check this option, because a user can easily change his DNS, for example, from the secure flash start to Google 8888. But if you click on this this option, the system automatically will add at the end two very nice rule, and any DNS query will be automatically forwarded out to flash start. Let me copy the script, okay? Copy it, continue. Now let me switch to the Winbox. Let me open a new terminal, right click, and then paste. Okay, so how does it work? The system now creates, point number one, a synchronization script. Create a scheduling policy. It will be launched any minute, no problem. It will exchange a very, very, very low bandwidth traffic, and then through IP, firewall, NAT option, it will add two very important for TCP and UDP redirection rule. Now, let's switch to flash start. I can launch it manually just to speed up the synchronization process. And now, let me test configuration. Congratulations, your network is connected. From the moment I run the script for the very first time, without waiting a minute, the synchronization succeeded in just 3 seconds. If I click on close, let me send a good feedback. Can I? Okay. The system in network session has just connected our account to the router. Okay, the router is synchronized and the status is green. So what does it mean? It means that if I point for lesser DNSs, I can choose between several profile. We will start filtering successfully. So just to be very fast and efficient here, this is our homepage. Can you see correctly the whole screen? Is it too narrow or too small? Is it readable, guys? Just a confirmation in the chat. Okay, if you can correctly see our screen. Just a confirmation if is it readable, David?
I think so.
Okay.
It's
Let me
readable on my
enlarge.
screen.
Okay. So now we are inside Mikrotik configuration. The router has just been connected. We have some sample report, okay? We have just populated this account with some nice data because it will take about 10 or 15 minutes to load and populate the very first graph. We have the block by category. We have the allowed by category. We have the traffic by geolocation. Okay, so the number of DNS query for different parts of the world, and then at the end, last but not least, we have the malware infected host blocked. If you want to have more information, we can easily switch to the report section. We have several reports: blocked, allowed, unwanted block, malware, and we can choose which profile query, or simply we can make a global query on each report. We can select the time interval, we can export to a PDF, and we can schedule by an email every day, every week, every month the report types we want to be notified by mail. We can also see and discover the website that have been tried to access. Okay, these are blocked websites, for example, pornography or proxy or gambling. We have several websites about gambling in our blacklist. Let me change to the allowed by category report. The color is green, and we can also query the system in order to have the detail. Just a recommendation for European user. GDPR is the most important privacy statement in Europe. We fully respect GDPR because we offer the aggregated report without showing the individual DNS query. So we are okay with any privacy statement. The one in California is very important, another in Canada, and the European GDPR. Through the protection mask, we can decide which category block or not. For example, here we have up to I think 80, 85, 86 filtering category. For example, in dangerous we have different categories. We have just added coronavirus frauds because the spreading of frauds to sell fake mask, fake sanitizer is really impressive, and we have created just yesterday a dedicated category. We can also decide to block free time or to select the unwanted websites such as adult chat pornography. We can also decide, for example, for social network, to schedule blocks. Simply, if we want to restrict Facebook from 8 in the morning to, for example, 5 in the afternoon, we can easily select the time range to block Facebook, and sooner or later, Facebook will be allowed. But within the red interval, Facebook will be locked down. Just to complete the explanation, we have the geo-blocking session. The geo-blocking mask allows you to select some dangerous country. For example, in some countries, such as Russia or such as sub-Saharan Africa countries, can spread viruses because they are plenty of hackers and IT pirates. So we can also decide to block some part of the world in terms of DNS resolution. Just a few tool searches. We can search within historical data. We maintain up to 6 months of history, and we can also query the real-time query. So it will be very easy to make debug about filtering. Just to complete, we have several data center and several redundancy. If you click on infrastructure statistics, you will see our global infrastructure. Now it's okay, it's loading. Okay, now it's fully working right here. Here we go. It's loading. Just a sec. It's okay. It's a trial machine. It's a trial machine. It takes a bit, I think, to collect data because we are on a test installation. Okay. Here we are. These are our data center: Milan, Frankfurt, Singapore for Asia, Miami, Johannesburg, Seattle, United States, São Paulo, and Middle East. You can see that it's everything okay apart Miami. Miami is partially operative because it's under maintenance staff, but traffic is automatically switched to the nearest data center. So traffic to Miami will be partially diverted, for example, to Seattle. Okay, you can check in real time our network and our data center status. Okay, just to complete everything, we have an excellent support. We support people through chat. We have a 24/7 chat in 3 different languages: Italian, English, and Spanish. Our documentation area has been totally revised, so we can easily switch between contents. And we also offer router guide. We have, I think, a quite extensive knowledge of Mikrotik, so you can have a look in detail at what our automatic script will create. And we have, I think, some nice tool about how to redirect DNS traffic, how to implement a local cache on Mikrotik. So we have several tools and I think several guidelines in order to implement it at best. Let's start. Just a few words to finish. You can query any website. We totally produce our own blacklist, and we are responsible. So we do not buy any content filter third-party blacklist. We have an automatic artificial intelligence system, and we have several people working to improve and to tune our blacklist. If you find that someone is not correct, you can ask for an immediate revision, and you will have a 4 hours response time. Here you have some nice commercial tools such as price request, sales tools, multimedia, but this is not the topic for this technical webinar, but it was just an opportunity to have a look at the maximum completeness of our infrastructure. If you have any technical questions about the integration, about the best practice guidelines, here we are. Otherwise, David can continue with the explanation. If you have any question, here we are to reply. We are glad and delighted. Okay, people are writing very well. Let me see. Meanwhile, we are receiving some private messages. We are receiving some private messages about prices of flash start. Flash start pricing is very sensible to to different countries and continents. So we provide a custom price list for any countries. If you need to access prices, you can click on the green button request to access and to get your prices. Okay, you'll be able to see a green button in the upper part of the screen. Claudian is asking, can we add our website to be blocked? Yes, for sure, absolutely. We also provide a personal blacklist and a personal whitelist. It's fully possible. Let me share again, and thank you for your question. Okay, we have a personal blacklist. You can add whatever you want, or you can also add a personal whitelist to make some exception. For example, if you want to block any social network apart LinkedIn, you can block social network through the system categories, and then you can add linkedin.com into any profile. Okay, and the system says that the whitelist will be active within 3 minutes. Why 3 minutes? Because our system is distributed and it takes about up to 3 minutes, but in most of the cases 1 minute is okay. So the system simply warns you about this. You can also
Francesco,
yes,
just suggesting, so that's the whitelist blacklist. One of the other important requirements, just to touch on, is where the government has its own specific blacklist.
Yeah.
And maybe you can pop an example, or I don't know. We sometimes use that Colombian example, don't we? So we can import that blacklist on a country basis. Yeah, there we go. We do a number of these for countries already around the world. The Colombian one is one in here which can be enabled and disabled. Yeah. And if you have requirements like that, you let us know. Something that's also closely related to this is where a government wants to block an entire category of content. Let me give you an example: gambling. So within I think it was the Philippines where gambling using online gambling in a public place is illegal. Then
I think the Philippines.
Then the Philippines, yeah, the Philippines. Then we have provided the possibility to block that to a very high level to a very high quality level, and bring assurances to clients that they will not be exposed to government problems by people using gambling in their public establishments.
Yeah. Okay. Just another information, because
yeah, in fact, I see there's a note there from Collodian. I think you're in Albania, if I remember correctly. You're saying that by law we have to close all the betting websites. Well, that's exactly the same. That's exactly the same use case. Yeah. We can do that. We can do that. And what we also do during the deployment phase, if you make us aware of these kind of requirements, we go through a tuning exercise. So we'll assign a deployment engineer, and they will tune the experience in your local country with that in mind.
Okay, someone is asking through an email I'm reading now, because he wasn't using the chat at the moment. But Francesco, I have about 1,000 of custom blacklist to be imported. Shall I enter side by side? No, my friend, not a problem. Okay, you can use the importation from text file. Okay, destination, blacklist, and then You can browse and select a TXT file, and then the system will automatically populate the blacklist selection for you. Okay, so it's fully fully possible. Okay. Some other questions. Another important stuff, the multi-profile. If you want to implement different profile according to different configuration, you can click on new profile. For example, let us create a profile for the general management of the company, because the GM sometimes tells you, okay, let's block everything, go to site, gambling, dating, but I want just to have a very, very, very few restrictions. You can create the profile, you will mark your sector, and you can select a different couple of DNSs. You can select a different couple of DNSs, and if you redirect through a normal Mikrotik IP firewall redirection rule, the DNS query for your general manager specific IP machine to this new couple of DNSs, you will be able to attach this was already news, you will be able to attach a different filtering profiling. For example, top management may ask you, leave everything free for me, also pornography, because sometimes it's a quite recurring request, but block malware for me, and then leave me free to access other site. Okay, you can switch into different profile, and here it's very clear. For example, the Wi-Fi network will use this couple of DNS, but the general management will use a different couple DNSs. Most of them right now in the chat that are asking, but if we have Microsoft Active Directory next week, next Thursday, we will talk about how to integrate the Active Directory management, but it's another topic, and we have planned a very special webinar to introduce the Active Directory Pro Plus synchronization that is fully compatible with Mikrotik environment, of course, but we have decided to split the content into two different webinars. We have another questions. Okay. Okay. For the Wi-Fi profile, let's say if we want to group the group, let's say IT team, finance, reception for each of the group, can we manage the filter individually based on Wi-Fi profile? Yes, it is possible, but I think that you will need the Pro Plus version. It consists in a local DNS cache that will be useful to filter granularly people based upon their username or their IP address. Okay, so next Thursday, please subscribe to our webinar, and I think you will enjoy a lot the per user, per group, or per IP address granular filtering. It's another topic. Let's proceed with other questions. Most of people are requesting prices, so let me put again our call to action button, okay, in order to see, to request our prices. Okay, is there an option to change the sensitivity of the blocking in order to make a more restrictive blocking for malware on the management team, which might be targeted with phishing with a more relaxed on other department? Yes.
Great question.
It's a great question. Okay, let me share again. I am jumping like a kangaroo to different parts. Okay, I'm jumping. Okay, so protection, both for content and malware, you have two very nice global category: the heuristic, malware, and threat. Okay, you can decide to enable or not. If you decide to to enable the heuristic malware threats, the system will be much more aggressive in applying the protection policy. How do we split between standard malware filtering and heuristic malware filtering? Simply, our sensitivity system will be will go much more in deep, and we will the algorithm will block much more dangerous website. But if you decide to enable the heuristic malware and threat category, you need to be ready to accept a very small part of false positive. This is the, how can I say, the dark side of the medal. Okay, same stuff for a heuristic unwanted website. You can also decide to apply a much more aggressive content filtering option for adult, for browser, for gambling. In Malaysia, for games, for pornography, for open proxy, and for tools for hacking. Okay, you can decide. I would suggest to grant both standard and heuristic threats protection, because the rate of false positive is about 0.3, 0.5%. So it's very low. But if you simply send us a bug, our system will update in just 4 hours. So you can contribute, and you can help for sure Fluster community in order to be a main actor and using the heuristic, and in case submitting to us some false positive. Okay, is it clear for everyone? Do you have another questions? We are available for any question, and we are ready to ask you, how was this content? Me and David, every time we plan a webinar, are very sensible to your feedback, and also critic, because it's very important for us to understand if our topic, if the quality of our explanation, and if the contents were useful and interesting for you. So please complete with confidence our survey, because it's very important to change. Maybe we can change, David, both content and maybe speakers. I don't know, but no problem. And the price request is ready. We are still feel available for other 4 or 5 minutes to answer to your question. If you have particular question about implementation, about I don't know, about some particular features, about the multiple internet connections configuration, it's fully supported. If you have questions about carrier grade NAT, here we are. For any question, please, you can use the chat while completing our online survey. David, if you want to add, please, some topics or some conclusions.
Okay. Well, first, I'll just echo Francesco's point to please ask that you complete the survey. We read these very closely, and we've made a number of changes and introduced other things as on the direct feedback we have in the surveys. And you may feel you don't see the kind of question there that you'd like to respond to, but you want to say something else. So please let us know. I think there are free form. I think the last question has got a free form response in it, hasn't it, Francesco? We've normally got a free form field. So pop it in there. And while you're engaging with your end users, if you have an issue that you want to discuss, even if you think it might be outside of the product capability, do table that. It's there have been a number of discussions with customers over the months on how to address new and emerging issues, whether specific to deployments or whether specific to new regulatory issues. And we've done a number of developments to help resellers and end users address those points. We do quite a lot like that. So thank you for your time. I'm going to hand back to you, Francesco, just to wrap up, and maybe there's another question or two coming in there.
Yeah, something about our support. We provide an extensive chat support, phone support into 3 languages. Our company is Italian and British, and I think we have mixed the global vision of British people with an impressive customer care that is typical of Italian people. I'm very proud of this. If you have a problem in a customer, if you have a problem in an installation, chat with us, call us, write to us, and you will immediately have a customer engineer that will share a web session and will call you to practically help you to sort your issue out. We are very particular at customer support, and I think that most of our dealers that work with us, we have several people that are our active partner, can clarify and can give you full references about the quality, the patient, and the ability of share your doubts, your problem, and also your fear about implementing an internet protection system to your customers. Okay, you have our full support. You have our direct contact. Please complete with confidence our interviews. It's very short, just few people needs to complete the survey, and in case you need to ask for prices and for reselling also condition, we have very important reselling conditioned programs, the different partnership levels, both for MSP, for reseller, for IT consultant, and for companies, school of scores, and government. Please be free to complete the get price request process. Okay, this webinar will be also delivered with our slides and with some nice FAQs by tomorrow morning. Thank you very much for attending. If you do not have any other further questions, we can wish you the best for health, for success, and for money. And see you next Thursday, same time, for the Pro Plus with Microsoft Active Directory integration. A warm cheers from Italy.
All the best from UK. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a good time.